If you've ever felt bored with your usual art supplies, this is your reminder that curiosity is the best art tool you have. Today, I'm trading in my acrylic paints for some watercolors and giving myself permission to not know what I'm doing and go for it anyway. All right, if you are new to grid journaling, all it is making lots of smaller pieces of art, like a teeny tiny little series of art in across a sketchbook spread. So I like to use 2 pages. I like to trace a business card. This is actually from a pair of earrings that I got, and it just seemed like the right size. Whatever you want to do, you can trace it. You can tape, put 2 pieces of tape down the middle vertically and then horizontally to make your squares. Whatever you want to do is totally fine. I tend to like this. It kind of gets me in the mindset of doing the grid journal, but you do you. The reason that I love grid journaling, one of many reasons, is because it gives you so many at-bats. It gives you so many times to experiment rather than making one whole painting using a new brush or a new color scheme or a new, some other tool. This gives you 18 mini canvases to experiment within, and it's just lovely. You get to do it all at once, all in one sitting, or across multiple sittings if you only have 5 minutes here or there. It works. It's very flexible. It works for all types of people. I especially love it for my ADHD friends and people with very busy lives, very busy brains. You can leave this out and keep going past it and making a new mark every time. It's been a while since I've experimented and played around with watercolors. So when I heard of these Viva colors, they're actually sheets of watercolor. And you can see you just add a little bit of water to your brush, put your brush on the paint swatch, I guess, and the color is very vivid. I was very impressed with the colors here. Watercolor, in my mind, it lives in my mind as something that's very muted and soft and not vibrant. And I think I've just been using not the greatest quality watercolors, because the more you end up paying for watercolors, the more vivid the colors will be if you want them to be vivid. But they're just much more pigment in these paints. So I was very happy with these, and the whole thing, so there's 16 colors in this little pack, was like $20. Supposedly, the company says that these last as long as half pan watercolor, those little squares of watercolor paints that you can get in a set. I don't know. I haven't tested that much of this, but if that's true, then that's pretty impressive. I really like this yellow color, as you can tell. The way that I like to grid journal is I'll do one thing in each square and then pick a new thing. So by one thing right now, it's painting with yellow paint. I did add some of this, brownish ochre color in some of these squares as well. But typically I'll go through, put one something. So this is one blop of yellow paint in each square. I try to do it in different ways, different iterations, different proportions, different shapes, whatever. Once that's done, I will then switch to the next color or the next tool, maybe use a pen, maybe use something else. The box of kind of crayon-like sticks that I have at the top of my screen are Derwent inktense sticks. I'm not sure. I don't have my terminology down, but they are water-soluble sticks. They're very vibrant colors, and once they dry, they're apparently permanent. So they will not, if I poured a glass of water accidentally across the sketchbook right now, all the yellow would run because it's watercolor, and it would, when more water gets on it, it would dilute it and it would wash it away. These inktense sticks, again, I have not tested this, but their reputation is that once they dry, they're permanent. That's what it says on the box. That's what the company says, so I have no reason not to believe them. This orange color that I selected is obviously in the same warm kind of family as the yellow. It is definitely a warmer yellow. I wanted something that wasn't too different, but different enough that it would stand out. And you can use these in very different ways. So I have a little lid off to the right that I filled with water. And when I put it, dip it in water and then draw with it, the color goes on very rich and very smooth. Because it's watercolor paper that I'm using, the water gets absorbed very quickly and then it becomes dry again. I could go through and use a wet brush to soften these. I'm choosing not to. I'm using it full strength. In some of the squares, I'm using it like a crayon where it's just dry. There's no wrong way to do this. I love things where there's no wrong way. This is like my favorite. I do not like being judged, and I feel like, when I feel like I'm being judged, it totally shuts me down, and I know I'm not alone in that, even if it's me judging me. So when I can be in a situation where there's no wrong way to do it, and also no right way to do it, that's when I really thrive in life, and I suspect I'm not alone. All right, back to the watercolor sheets. One thing I found that's tricky about the sheets, I have a ruler weighing down the top portion right up there. Once they're wet, it's hard to let them go because if maybe I was getting them too wet, but they were dripping and blending in other colors, which is tricky. So I think that there needs to be some sort of system where you have a system of small weights just to keep the paint flat. But I loved this color. This blue is so dreamy to me. Huge fan of this color. I think this was peacock blue. Yes, peacock blue. Big fan. It reminds me a lot of phthalo blue, which is also my favorite blue, which is very pigmented. Despite the fact that I use it all the time, I forget that all the time. One thing that I remembered and learned that I liked about these watercolors, and watercolor in general, I love how much control you have over how much, like how blue it is. So in the upper right hand corner, see how it's much more diluted with more water. And I just keep adding water and not adding paint, and I'm still going. So you can make it really subtle, look like it kind of like Caribbean Ocean blue, or you can make it pretty dark. That's a pretty dark value, those little dots. And again, for those of you who are not as familiar with grid journaling, the beauty of it is look how different each of those squares is. It's not because I'm a genius. It's not because I'm amazing. Although my mom will tell you that I am, so that's really nice. It's just because I'm intentionally one mark at a time picking something different in each square. So when you try this, your squares will not look like mine. And that's good. They're not supposed to look like mine. They're supposed to look like yours. The more you do this, the more iterations of anything you can do, that whole 10,000 hours theory and whatever the new theory is about it, the more you do it, the more you paint, the better you'll be at painting you. The best artists, in my opinion, and I think I'm not alone in this either, are the artists who paint from themselves. It's a truly unique thing without trying to be unique. They're just painting what flows out. I tend to go with stripes a lot. I tend to go with little scribbles that kind of all turn out in similar fashion. Those are just marks that I naturally make. I don't know why I make them. Maybe it's habit, maybe it's reflexes, muscle memory, who knows? You will discover what you have along those lines as you continue painting and exploring and trying new things. You'll also see that some of these squares are duds. That one in the upper left, but it's not over yet. So we'll see what it turns out like. And if you think about it, before I really was creating on a regular basis, I really thought that all artists just made everything and everything they made was like in a gallery, right? If you're in a gallery, you're a great enough artist that everything you make is going to be amazing. And that's not true. If you are interested in art and you try and you show up and you try something that might not work, all of these squares, this is 18 chances for 18 things that might not work. But because I have 18, there's also a chance that some things might work. So it's a numbers game, especially in the beginning, especially when you just want to relax and zone out and be free. You can make a huge mess out of a grid journal, and it will be the best time you've had all day. You can also have a great time relaxing, not think about it, and make the best things you've ever made in your entire life. Because you're just relaxing and you're free and you're not thinking. At the end of the day, it's all kind of a crapshoot. We just need to show up and keep showing up and keep showing up, and the art will come. That's how you build any skill. And it's a skill. It's a skill of being brave. Being brave is also a skill. Showing up even when you're afraid that it might not turn out. It's a skill, which means you can learn it. And how do you learn it? You learn it by doing it. There's no shortcut. But I'll tell you, at least it's fun. Like, creating is fun. Making a mess is really fun. Just gotta kind of get your mindset shifted away from I need to make something pretty to I need to make something. If you're an overthinker or an ADHD creative like me, remember that you don't need a plan. Just need to give yourself permission to play. Every time we explore a new material, a new tool, a new medium, we learn something about the paint and about ourselves. If you're interested in exploring more ways to loosen up and try something new, subscribe to my channel. I post these videos every week with encouragement, zero pressure, and just art for the sake of loving art. I also have a 21st Marks free guide that I can send you. You can check the link above or look in the description. It's just 20 super simple ways to start a new art session. And last but not least, I would highly encourage you guys to try a grid journal page like this. It's a ton of fun. It gives you so much room for experimentation and exploration. Have a great week.